Hello my lovelies, today I'm going to be talking you through my university bookshelf tour. As a literature student, my modules change from term to term, therefore the books that I keep on my shelf change with it. So I thought I'd go through my bookshelf at the end of spring term for my second year at university. Now before I get to my actual shelf, I do have this little nightstand which did not come with my university room, I brought it with me. And this is where I keep my currently reading books. Though truthfully, You Do You by Sarah Knight and Write a Novel in 10 Minutes a Day are books that I haven't really delved into properly yet. I've only read a couple of pages. So my main currently reading right now is Queen of Shadows, and I am actually 100 pages away from the end. Therefore I will finish it tonight, and I will probably end up reading Dread Nation tomorrow before I go home on Saturday. And then on my very messy desk, in the corner, this is where I keep my Norse textbooks, which is grammar, translations and glossary, and then the sagas of Icelanders as a compilation. These will all be coming home with me to use and study over the Easter holidays, but I keep them here because I need these for my translation homework from week to week. Then we get into my actual shelf above my desk. I do keep a lot of mugs on them, which I use frequently. My cactus, there's a sonic screwdriver up there which I'm going to need to take home for Comic Con, teapot, a jar of pennies, and even more mugs. Now the general organisation of this is that classics are at the top and fiction books or books I'm reading for myself are at the bottom. Now these are mostly university books, and it's also worth noting that I kept all my Victorian literature books at university. I never took them home at Christmas, even though my Victorian literature module was over autumn, and so they will probably be coming home with me. Books worth noting here is the anthology for Victorian literature, which I will probably keep on my shelf even though I'll take the actual novels home, because it's just useful to have, and I actually really like this book. The reason why I love this book is because it's got extracts from all different Victorian writers, and I have used a lot of these, highlighted a lot of these as well. What I also love about this book, it has these glossy pages of paintings and photographs from the Victorian era as well, and I have actually used these two paintings in an essay that wasn't for my Victorian literature module but for the critical practice module, so it has been quite useful to keep around, and I just think it's beautiful, so I let it linger on my shelves. And here are some annotations from the research essay I did. Another interesting book on this shelf is The Expedition of Humphrey Clinker. Interesting because it was actually so boring, and it's maybe one of 2 to 3 books out of 500 I own that I am willing to let go of, so I might most probably unhaul that book. I've also got here The Nation's Favourite Poems, which is a book I was given second hand, but I wanted to get into poetry, so I brought it to university with me. I have medieval literature books for my medieval module in autumn, which now need to go home. That's a Victorian literature, York Mystery Place on medieval. This here, Greta's Saga, is a text I need to read for my Norse module because it runs spring to summer, so I'll be carrying on with Norse. The Poetic Edda is a book that we've already read, but I need to bring it home just in case I want to write my formative essay that's due over. Moving from Oxford Classics to Penguin Classics, you've got another Victorian literature with Oliver Twist, medieval. Castle Rackrent was an Inventing Britain one, and I will be taking the Inventing Britain books home as well and not using them again because I wasn't fond of that module. But I've decided to keep this book because we didn't read Ennui, we only read Castle Rackrent, as these are 2 books in one volume, and I feel the need to read it at some point in my life just to see if the actual whole book is worth keeping. Picture of Dorian Gray is actually one of my own classics that I brought with me. If you saw my TBR Classics video, you'll know it's one of the ones I want to read. Emma is originally a book that was on my reading list that I never got around to, but I'm going to keep it on my shelves so that I can read it as part of my TBR Classics. All the TBR Classics books I will keep here because I don't think I'll have time over at Easter because it's only a short break, so I'll keep them at university. That was a medieval book. Now Saga is another Norse literature book that I need to read over Easter, ready for summer term. Hamlet I might possibly keep here just because it's my old A-level copy of Hamlet and we used it in critical practice. This is a brilliant book one of my friends got me for my birthday. It is the history without the boring bits, so it goes year by year and tells you a stupid fact about what happened, and I just think it's so brilliant. But it's not quite fiction, so it goes on top shelf. The Little Prince, which can come home now I've read it. Another Austen book that I've kept with me just in case I wanted to read something. This is a very, very old school textbook of poems. I think it is from, if I have a look at the writing in it, very old. 1934. So very old, but I kept it with me because it's got some really cute poems. Then I've got a very old copy of The Old Curiosity Shop, another one of my TBR classics, and another one of my TBR classics that I'm all going to stay at university with me. Now on to my fiction shelf, or books for myself. Unless I've already read them or plan to read them over Easter, they will stay here over the Easter holidays in case I want to read them over the summer term, because summer term I'll have more time to myself. To start with, behind my cactus, we have hardback books, including Scratchman, which you saw bought the other day, Sarah J. Maas Catwoman, which is actually a signed bookplate edition. I'm keeping this here for when I finish the Throne of Glass series, so that is hopeful thinking to actually keep it at university, because I've still got quite a way to go with the Throne of Glass series. I've got my 2 Lucy Wolsey books, one on Austen, one on Queen Victoria, just in case I felt like reading some non-fiction. The Science of the Girls by Pat Baker, which is a retelling of the Iliad through the eyes of the women involved. These 2 books are some of my prized possessions. These are Undercover Princess and Princess in Practice, part of the Rosewood Chronicles by Connie Glynn. I keep them with me because I really want to read them. I have read book 1. I haven't read book 2 yet, and book 3 is coming out in September, but I plan to reread both before then. And I love these copies because they are both signed editions. And I'm really hoping that when book 3 comes out in September, I can get another signed edition from Waterstones, because they sold them there. So I absolutely love these. I think they will be great summer reads to take me away from the stress of exams and essays. Along the top, we've got 2 books that didn't really fit on the shelves, and that is The Haunting of Hill House, which is my blind date with a book, and The Cutout Girl, which I bought last month, which isn't really fiction, so it doesn't really fit on the shelf. Then along the shelves, I've got Secrets of Vault 13, My Name is Victoria, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Air of Fire is a book that I finished this term, so that'll be coming with me. The Cruel Prince is a book I finished this term, so that'll also be coming home. The Poet X, Scythe, Dread Nation, which is most likely the book I'll start tomorrow, so it'll come home with me. The Silent Companion is actually a second-hand book that I got from the Oxfam Books around by the Minster in town, on a recommendation of a friend saying it's really good. Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology, which I have read, but because it's a good introduction to Norse myth, I'm going to keep it here because my Norse module carries on. Then we've got a collection of Stephen King books. This is his memoirs on writing, so it's half a memoir, half a how to write book. My friend says it's very good, so I'm going to keep that there. Salem's Lot, which I haven't read, and Pet Sematary, which I have, so that'll be coming home with me. I've also got Behind the Teapot, The Darkest Minds, the first book. I haven't got any of the rest of the books, but I thought I'd buy the first book to see if I like it, so that will stay here. So I have a variety of books to choose from over summer term when I will have more time. The His Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman, which is a series that I really want to read, but I know I won't get to over Easter, so they will stay here. A Pinch of Magic will stay here as a book to possibly read over summer term. And Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, which is another TBR Classics book, which will, again, stay here as an option to be read. So these are the different piles of books that will be coming home with me, and this is my shelves with the books that are going to be staying at university over the 4 weeks of Easter. And staying at university will also be these 2 books, since I've barely started them, therefore I don't need to bring them home to finish quite yet. This is an explanation into different piles. These are my Inventing Britain, Medieval and Victorian literature books that I don't need now these modules are over, so they can go home and stay at home. These are books that I have finished reading for myself, which can now go back on the shelves at home and stay at home. These are my currently reading, or hopefully by the end of tonight, that'll be a book that can stay at home. And then I'll start Dread Nation tomorrow, so I need to take that home as my currently reading. I will, because I definitely won't finish the Throne of Glass series while I'm at home, I will be bringing other Throne of Glass books with me, whichever ones I'm on. There's also this pile, which are books that I need to study over Easter, since my Norse carries on and I'm going to be doing an exam in the language, so I'm going to need them to revise. I'm going to need Njál Saga, Grettir Saga and the Sagas of Icelanders to do my reading for the summer lectures and seminars. And the Poetic Edda, just in case I want to write my formative essay on it. So there'll be ones that are going to be going home and then coming back again. And I've also thought I'd bring The Cutout Girl home, because it's a very quick book to read. And I know my mum and dad are going to want to read this too, mum especially, so I think I might bring it home and keep it at home now anyway, so they could read it when I'm not there, and I might even read this over Easter since it's so small. So that was my bookshelf tour. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you at the end of summer term for another shelf tour. Like, comment and subscribe. Thank you for watching.